This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we were supposed to have a great fight today, but it is going to be. I think I didn't check in during the week because we got caught in a couple of other deliverables. So I think as things stand, we're postponing it to mid-July. Wait, I forgot when's the Hip Chips workshop? Does anybody remember the exact date?
June 19,
Okay.
Sunday, June 19.
Okay, so next week it'll be. Kash, you guys are up, right?
Next week, I'm still here. I don't know about.
No, not you. It's Kash and Kash is going to talk about
okay.
eTopus. So roughly.
Yeah, roughly, or we may have to move it to the 624. We're in the middle of this whole PCI thing that we're doing, which is happening that week. So I think we're sort of could do a combo with QuickLogic because we're doing some stuff with them, right? So if we could move it to 624, that would probably be easier.
You want to do it this way, but the two of you guys want to do it like so. Okay. Well, in that case, then
we'll do it on 624. Yeah, that would be better.
Okay.
Because we have that PCI meeting and trade show that week of the 20th, so we're kind of really busy with that, to be honest. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, in that case, the great fight slips back just by a week. 7-1 no meeting. 7-8 I've got Srijit from Intel talking about testing chiplets. 7:15 I think we can do the great fight part 2 because there's a and then I'm still hunting. Let's see. I don't know whether Giri is Giri online. All right, we'll chase down. Anyway, this is our schedule for the next few weeks, roughly. Anybody else have any topic speakers that they'd like to put in place? 15, 20 second. Any ideas, anybody? Any speakers?
Bapi, you had the Ventana. Oh, you have the Ventana guys somewhere down the line.
I have the Ventana guys, but never actually close on a date. Let me ask. Let me chase them down and ask them if they'd be interested in talking. And Giri also was, and then Shahab had a couple of ideas on papers from ISSCC. So we've got a whole bunch of potential topics, but we don't have any confirmed dates from anyone. So I'll chase them down in the month of June. Excuse me. Okay, any other ideas from anyone, speakers wise? Okay. All right. Then in terms of the other one, I'm happy to tell you that we actually presented the bunch of wires to the incubation committee yesterday. So it's on its way to being an official spec. Elad unfortunately is late. He's got some he's got some issues, but he did a bang up job presenting it to the committee yesterday. And if all goes according to plan, we should have it should be an official spec within the next 2 weeks or so. And soon after that, it should be a spec about it should be a spec release, and then we're off to sort of Bo 2.0. So this is very nice news. Thank you all for who have participated in this. I think our next plan is to do the 2.0. Oh, right. Did you guys discuss Cliff's plan last week? And how, if you're building something around Bo, that we're trying to do a coordinated, we're trying to work on talking about Bo, etc. Was anybody here last week? Because I wasn't. Wait, nobody remembers last week's meeting?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I think the last week meeting, Bobby, was mainly the discussion around the presentation to incubation committee, if I remember correctly.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we talk about, advertising stuff of the what we have, like all
Okay.
stuff.
You
Yeah, I
did
think
talk
they were
about that.
looking for press releases, like joint press releases with companies or something like that.
Okay, all right. So we did talk about that.
Yeah, it's at least I remember. I don't know which meeting it was, but yes.
Okay, good. So that
Yeah,
if that is, please. Now the Bo spec is an official spec, and let's have at that, especially if you're working on the Bo or a product around the Bo.
Yeah, so most specifically last meeting, Cliff was asking for participating companies to provide quotes, right?
Right,
As
right.
part of the outreach. Hey, one question I just want to clarify for the bow, the coming specification, is that labeled as 2.0? You just mentioned 2.0. Is that
Oh, I'm saying
correct?
the group as a whole has begun working on 2.0. They
Oh,
released.
begin. Not that particular spec is
No.
is
The spec
ratified.
that's released
Okay.
is 1.0.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The spec that's released is 1.0.
Okay.
And Tony, if you guys have any feedback or something like that, I think we have a 2-week window in which to make any minor corrections, etc.
Right. My team is on it. I'm not sure if I'll check the status.
Okay. Well, we can always smuggle them into the next release.
Right.
Okay. Then is JP on? Not okay. So then the other plan, there's a second plan where I've been tossing, and I want to run this by you. It's a really I think that it might have some legs, but it's still in a very early stage. The idea in my head is that whether we can create a Bo test board purchase plan. Roughly, each test board will be for about $10,000. Will be for $10,000. I think it'll be available mid-September. There's a tentative date. I'll go figure out what the actual date is. But the plan here in my head is that whether companies would be willing to buy this board from the board vendor and donate it back to the community, or keep a copy for themselves. So the rough plan here is a Bo test chip community purchase plan, a board community purchase plan. So this helps us fund the development of the board, makes boards available for community use and testing, and you can go off and buy a copy of the board for your own internal use as well if you'd like. There's a whole bunch of software that will be built along with this, and there's a good vehicle for all of us working on board to collaborate in terms of interoperability testing and in terms of interoperability testing. In terms of getting used to the interface. So the plan in my head is roughly to put together a almost a Kickstarter-like thing where we could get members of community members to buy one or more copies of the board for about 10K each. So with the idea that maybe you donate one back to the community and keep one for yourself, or just buy one for yourself. How does this? So the idea in my head is that if we get enough of this going, we've got a solid base of requirements and funding for the final push to develop and distribute the Bo test boards. Any takers? Any thoughts? Can you guys see pitching, buying a Bo test board to your companies? Say Taufeeq, AMD, or Nick at Acronix, or anybody else online?
I'm sorry, and who's Pfizer on that? That's D Box.
D-Matrix and BCA.
D-Matrix, yeah. Yeah,
D-Matrix and Blue Cheetah.
Yeah, I was aware of the Blue Cheetah, wasn't aware of D-Matrix. Okay.
So we would this would be a test board that integrated with a package that integrated chiplets from these two companies, and right. You get to play around with the Bo interface, die-to-die, and test a die-to-die interface.
And this is on a substrate, right? And
they all packaged and everything.
Yeah.
And the plan in my head is to have a few companies buy the board for the community, and a few others to buy the board for their own internal use if they'd like.
So what do you need from us?
To buy a board.
Well, but to allocate one, I mean, you obviously have to build them, right? Is there
Yeah.
And what's the amount?
10K.
Okay. Can you
And
put
this
out something?
comes,
So what
Sorry.
that mean donate in that column, you know?
Sorry?
It says 10,000 purchase to own or donate. What that mean donate over there?
Donate means you turn you essentially it's your way of sort of granting 10K for the community to have a board that can sort of do that others can use. If somebody can't afford a board, you give a board to the community. It goes around for the testing and bring up.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Bapi, this comes with support. How does support work for this?
Well, I think we can. I'm sort of the last time around. So we had the system integrator offered some support the last time around when we did this, and I think we can do roughly the same thing here. Now, I don't think it come with like classic unlimited support or
Yeah,
right? Or you'll be allowed to. You can easily do your own sort of direct negotiation with the system integrator.
Yeah.
But there'll be a minimum amount of support, and they'll to sort of bring up the
To
board.
at least bring up the board. Yeah. Okay.
And there's a lot of interest in also making that happen. So yeah, there will be enough support to make the lights.
That's
blink.
right. Yeah. That way it's successful across the community. No, I understand. But yeah,
Exactly.
it's not like when you go buy something and you sign this, contract for a year with unlimited support, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, understood.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I'd like to find this seems to be a way to sort of take a specific amount of money and translate it into support for the community.
Okay, and so you say it's available September 19th. So that means by then they've already got the parts, they've tested it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
This date may be shaky. Let me. Okay, so my expectation is somewhere in Q4 that you will have this board, and I want to pin a specific date. This is my own date right now, not ratified by JP. That's what I was hoping he was here. But by this date you will have a board in your hands.
Understood.
But I'm looking for some general feedback on, is this a viable way to raise funding? Should we go down this? Can we go down this path? Can you guys see your companies being interested in supporting a board purchase? Does the number look reasonable?
We'll take it back and see.
Are there more specifications as to what exactly will be accessible on the board? What type of testing you can do? Is there a spec or something?
Okay, wait, you gave me a great idea. Hang on. So maybe what I'm looking for is, that's what I'm looking for. What additional information do we need in your minds to make this fly?
Well, I need to go to my engineering vice president and say, hey, there's this board available, and he's going to say, what can I do with it? I'm going to say, I don't know, but it's available. So I need to know exactly what they're getting. I mean, they're engineers. They want to be able to understand what they're going to have access to. Is it a value, right? It may be a value to Blue Cheetah and D Matrix because they want to test interoperability between themselves, but for a potential future licensee, what do we get out of it?
Okay. More detail on what is accessible, value licensees. Anything else? Maybe that's what I'm looking for in this conversation, to say, okay, what more can we do? What additional information should be made available?
What can we learn from the test board? What data can we learn?
Okay.
If we get the test board and we donate it to a university, can it be a research tool?
Yeah, the short answer to that, can we donate the test board? Okay.
Bapi, I think the challenge here is the design of that package, at least, is to test interoperability between two chiplets, right? And I'm not sure that there's that much going to the outside. So I think it really needs to, all these questions are actually very good questions. And I'm not sure that when, as the board's being designed, that was really been taken care of. So somebody really needs to look at, I think would be a large community wanting to interface to these chiplets and test something, whether it's other logic or I don't know what else should be on there. But my feeling is that the board wasn't designed for that. But I think there's a market for that. Would be a lot of interest in that. But if all you can see is hey, chiplet A talks to chiplet B with different lengths, which is valuable in and of itself, right? But if that's all it shows, then I think there's not going to be much interest. So that's I think we have to answer that question, right?
Okay.
In a nutshell.
Actually, Bappy, this is sort of related, but the great fight is going to be a debate, right? So with short presentations at most, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
So I'm giving a presentation at ISCA next week. It's part of the HIP chips. But I've made some quite good progress, and I would like to share it with everybody. It could play into this. I don't want to get into the details now, but I think it contributes to the great fight. But it would be so either I just read. Well, my thinking is I just redo the ISCA presentation to this group. Obviously,
Sure.
if everybody,
give me about 10 minutes, and it's all yours. There's just a couple of things I want to run through.
Oh no, it wasn't. Not now. It's still being pulled together. So I was thinking maybe not next week because I'm flying, but a week after next. I will be.
Next week is the 24th. Oh, the week after next. Okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, because I think the week. Wait, today is 6:10, right?
Yeah.
6:10, 6:24. Okay. Wait, I thought that so we're going to have a really crowded agenda. Okay, let's see if we can squeeze you in here. All right.
Either that, or we could do it 7-1, possibly.
7-1 is a long weekend. My expectation was that we'd have an even lighter audience.
Oh, okay.
We could try. I'm happy to do 7-1.
Well,
if you don't mind,
it's a 15-minute presentation, so depending on how long QuickLogic needs, I guess.
Okay. So anything else on any other ideas on what would make this board interesting, interesting, worth acquiring? That, hey, if I had this data and what I could do with it. Going once.
I think it'll be a good idea. I think the person that mentioned all this is going to be on package is making a good point. So I can't, whereas it looks like an interoperability board. So I'm not fully understanding what you're trying to achieve here, but after I've given my presentation, I think this is a really good idea.
Okay, I think it is more, we'd like to use this board and this package to have give people the ability to play with a die-to-die interface and use it in some way for their own, and either test it, characterize it, use it in some way for their own internal gain. There's a whole bunch of software we're developing. There's the generic intuition I have is it's going to be useful, And this feedback is helpful in translating that, sort of saying if we do X, Y, Z, then we can make it much more useful.
Okay.
So let's see, anybody else with any other ideas on any other? Anu, or did I lose Anu?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay. Hey, Elad. Okay, then that's topic number 2. And then the third topic is we have the OCP summit coming up next week. The call for papers is either next week or within 2 weeks. I don't remember exactly. I think I sent out an email to a bunch of people, forwarded the email, right? Hopefully you've been receiving the email from the foundation.
I think it's the 17th.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I think the due date by 17, I guess.
Is it 17th? Let me pull up give me 1 second. Let me see, I'm trying to find. Here you go.
Yeah, 17 actually. 17 is
Yep,
done.
I have it. So in June 17th, which is next Friday, right?
All day.
All day. It's Friday all day. So if you got any ideas or any papers on your work in this group or any other related ideas, typically what we do is we organize at least one workshop, sort of one session entirely around chiplets. And we also try to squeeze 2 panels in, one during the session and one somewhere in the rest of the workshop. So if you've got a panel idea, you've got you want to expand on what you presented at the Tech Summit, then at the Tech Talks, anything you have in mind.
I think, Bapi, this great debate, well, that could be a good panel too.
Yeah, that could be a good panel. We can sort of have 2 panels leading up to the great fight in the workshop.
Yeah.
So please submit something. I think I'm going to reach out to the work stream leads to submit updates on their activity on Bow, OpenHBI, the CDX, the test chip. Shahab, I don't know, hopefully we'll have something tangible by then on the die-to-die.
Most probably we do, sure.
And on the business side, etc. So if we have a lot of submissions, in general, there are 2 formats we've done. One is just straight up presentations, and the second is to have groups of 4 people talk in a panel format. We've tried both, depending on the number of the submissions we have. So if you have any panel ideas, please get them in by next Friday. And I think there's also, for the more academic stuff, there's also a future technology symposium happening in parallel. So if you got any, if you got any papers here, submit them. They're of a slightly off a deadline, which is slightly off from the regular conference. Okay, any questions on this? Does anybody have any pet topics like Tawfiq is the great fight? Anybody else have any other pet topics? Bill, you got any HIR panel? Anybody have any other thing they'd like to present?
I think if Shahab has some comparison, that'll be good, right? I think he just said he would. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is my list of topics for today that I wanted to cover. Shab, are we anything on the die to die 5? Do we still want more participation? Do you have any
I
updates?
think we are almost finalizing, at least thanks to Anu, Elad, and David that are participating on those meetings very actively, and Kurtkish from UCLA. I believe we are converging in some kind of new FOM, which is going to include some cost model. And we have some basically guesstimate on the cost between different packages that we can include. We need some help, which Anu is actually leading that basically activities to have a better estimation on a different cost for different packages. If anybody from the basically OSAT side or foundry side then can help us to have a better comparison in terms of the cost of packaging between 2.x, 2.5, and 3D, we will appreciate that.
Do you by any chance have anything to present right now, or I'm asking, not.
It's gonna be just whatever that I said. We're gonna have basically four different categories, which is gonna be 2D, 2.x, which is info and micro RDLs, and then we're gonna have a basically 2.5 and 3D integration. We really like to see a kind of normalized coefficient factor for the cost between these 4 different types of packaging. If anybody has this experience, I think it will be good to share with us. I think Anu is the right person. She worked actually so hard on it, but if anybody can actually help us on that, that would be great. But by the way, we are not exactly looking for dollar value. For example, we just want to see if we move from 2.5D to 3D, roughly how much basically percentage wise we're gonna get we have to pay for moving from 2.5 to 3D. Is it gonna be twice, or it's gonna be 3 times, or it's gonna be 10 times? Something like that. If we know that, that would be great.
Okay. That's basically it. Let me do my usual from the top. Elad or Shahab, any other opens?
No, it's last week we at IEEE, because it's one of my action item for the talks. We had Professor Tony Carson from Alpha Wave / University of Toronto at IEEE talking about basically die-to-die connection, and also for long reach optimization before FIC and after FIC. I mean, that was actually very well talked. I think more than 140 people actually attended, online and in person. If you want, we can reschedule that or similar talk for basically ODSA community as
well. Okay, that would be good. Sometime in August.
Yeah, anytime that we can have it. I think we can combine with IEEE event. Those talks.
Well, you know, regular meeting slot is this. We can always do a Friday. So sometime in August, whenever we pick a Friday in August, I think they're pretty open right now.
Okay, sure.
We talked about previously, we have a packaging design workshop. Is that what you like to also to include in your talk as well? Include as an opportunity for you to talk as well?
Say that again, Bill, please.
I'm sorry, please.
Would you? I didn't understand. What are you asking? Whether the ODSA would like to present there, or that they would like to present at this Friday meeting?
No, I was just wondering whether ODSA would like to go and talk about the ODSA's approach and chiplet workshop on. I think there's open for suggestions and open for input from you.
Sure. Wait, are you talking about the Leventhal?
I'm sorry. Can you?
Whose workshop is this?
I can't hear what you just said.
Whose workshop was this?
No, there is a Electronic Packaging Society. They have a workshop in Santa Clara on in October timeframe, and it's all about design. And I think the chipless aspects will be very suitable for that. And that is what I'd like to suggest that you may want to consider.
Got it. Okay. Is anybody interested in participating from in that online? Anybody online?
Just one comment. I think that you also basically reach out to them and CC us on that, but we never heard from them. Am I right? That's the same conference. I believe you tried to basically introduce us to them on May, but we didn't hear from them. We said we are okay to have something there.
I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I would very much. I think it's the best would be if you can talk to the organizations, people directly, and because I am not a good broker in the middle. So if I can do the introduction, it would be very good if you can make the connection. I will help to make the connection and help you to make the connection between ODSA and that conference. Particularly since this is going to be in Santa Clara, there will be a lot of people listening.
Okay, makes sense. What do we need to do? So you're going to make an introduction and then we close the loop. Is that it, Bill?
I will make the introduction, and when we get off the conference, I will make the introduction, and then we can all follow up from there.
Sounds good. Thank you. Tawfiq Allen.
No open on my side, Bobby.
Scott Anu.
No opens for me.
No, all good, thanks.
Alan with Bill. Any opens? Alan, Bill.
I think I just had my thing.
Okay. Alan Cantle. Anything?
No, not for me.
All right. Swami Marak.
Nothing for me. Thanks.
Nick Kash.
Good to go. Thank
I think
you.
we're good. We're good. Thank you.
Okay, Tony. Anything on your mind? I'm missing something.
Just one question. How are we doing with the comparison table? I mean, not comparison table, but the table listing out all the die to die. I'm just wondering what's going on with that table.
The new template. Shahab's. Go ahead, Shahab.
Yeah, we are meeting basically weekly. We decided to modify the FOMs that we had. We in the past version we had two. We dropped basically one, and we are adding a new one, which has a little bit of flavor of the cost also in it. I think Elad suggested one way of doing it, and we also heard from UCLA what they are suggesting. We are narrowing down that gap and finalizing one set of FOM, basically added to the previous two FOMs that we had. And as I mentioned, we're going to drop one of them. Then again, for this version, we're going to end up having two different FOMs. We are collecting some cost information. If anybody has, again, any information related to the cost for different type of packaging, please share it with us. And we do have a list of the new files that they are basically, this time we're going to consider and add to the list. I mean, internally, a couple of us are basically signed up for that. I have you basically for the Samsung, because we chat and we exchange email. You said that from Samsung side there are going to be 2-3 files that you'd like to add to it. Most probably by 2 weeks, what we need basically, that's the information that we need from everybody. The list is going to be finalized. Then we're going to share it with everybody and you. Then we can basically start collecting the data and plug it into the new FOMs that we're going to propose.
Oh, sounds good. So I can prep my team ahead of time. So thank you.
You know, Tony, they're welcome to join the meetings at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. They're open meetings.
Yeah, I usually have a standing meeting at that time too. So it's a little bit difficult for me to join. But
So
I'll try.
Yeah, or if you'd like to send a rep or something, they're more than welcome to join.
Okay.
Michael, anything on your mind?
Oh, nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, in that case, everybody, please submit an abstract.
Bobby, if you do have time, and then because everybody asked for it, I can basically show a couple of slides and see where we are standing about the.
For sure. Yeah. Let me make you the presenter. Yep.
Do you guys see this slide?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is basically the new list that we are trying basically to reach out. We are considering actually to, at the beginning we were considering to add all these files to the existing one, which is Sci5/AlphaWave. I already reached out. This table is not updated. AlphaWave is said that because still they are in the merger and acquisition by Sci5. I mean, and Sci5 basically going to the AlphaWave. We may actually have a better chance to basically reach directly to Sci5 for their parallel die-to-die, and AlphaWave is going to basically, if they want, they may actually provide information like last time for Syria. For GUC, I think we got the presentation and a contact person through Ravi. That's good. For TSMC, still we are missing someone that should contact them and get more information in Lipicon. Otherwise, we're going to stick with the public data that they have. From Etapus, I think Cash said that most probably for this round of table, they may not be ready. We're going to include them for the next version, hopefully. NVLink, I think Giri said that he can maybe help us for that. UCIE, I think we're going to stick with the public data again. MediaTek, I think Elad was supposed to reaching out to them, and also we do have as a backup plan a public data from them, a VLSI paper. Vavius, I think with the approach that Elad had, I think looks like we may not get any information from them for this round. Samsung, as I mentioned, Luke, we're gonna reach out to you and get the different data. Broadcom, I think Bobby and myself, we tried to get some data from Broadcom, but it didn't happen. Most probably we cannot include them in this round. Tawfiq, I believe we really like to hear anything from InfiniFabric from AMD side, if you can help us. Synopsys said most probably they are not willing actually to participate to this round, and we do have a UCLA 3D5, which they said they will be more than happy to be part of this basically round. Most probably at least we're gonna have 4 to 6 basically different file that we're gonna add to the existing list. This is the update from the participate to the 5, and also we have basically, remember there is an old Excel and participant that we're gonna update that as well, like Cadence, Bull, HBI, and others that we were already included there. These are the new names basically on that list. And this is what I was talking about, the cost model that we were talking about. Let me just get rid of this too. This is some cost factor that we really like to include in our FOM. If some, this is our at least first guesstimate that we have for 2D integration. If the cost is 1 for 2.x, which is info and your macro RDL, we assume is going to be 1.4. For 2.5D silicon interposer, 1.7. For 3D, we assume 2. But this, again, this is a very rough estimate and guesstimate from us. We really need some help from basically the foundries and OSAT at this point to see if they can massage these numbers and turn it to a better value, basically. I believe.
So the 2D integration is basically just flip chip BGA. So if that's normalized as a 1, what is the cost adder approximately going into RDL interconnect, which is some kind of 2.5D, and then an interposer, which is a little more complex 2.5D, and then ultimately 3D. So it's really very relative. So it's not asking for any precision here. But I believe that this approximation should be available. And then again, I do realize that this changes over time. And I understand the hesitancy in providing this, but it could be, today this is what it is, but 5 years from now, potentially it could change to something else. That's all we're really looking for. We don't want to pry into the business of an OSAT or a foundry, believe me. We just want to have some realistic numbers. So in our cost model, we come up with an answer saying, yeah, go ahead and disaggregate this giant SoC, and then you realize that the cost adder for the assembly is so high that it actually doesn't make sense. So that would be a total garbage in, garbage out model. So that's all we're looking for. Sorry to interrupt you, Shahab.
No, that was perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's all we had. I think this is the status update, and in the also background, we are working on the FOM, as I mentioned.
Is it on that list of the list of?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat your question?
On that list of vendors?
Correct.
Is there anybody else we want to reach out to? I'm asking, not commenting. Is there anybody else then?
If you know anyone, and if you know any 5 basically that we didn't include there, let us know. We will be more than happy to have them.
I was actually thinking about the guy from GUC, gentleman from GUC who showed up, right?
Correct. We had it on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, Igor, I guess. I think he was.
Igor, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have GUC here, Bapi.
Oh, the top. Never mind.
Yeah.
Did you reach out to Cadence?
If you know any file that is not listed here and it's not in the existing Excel sheet, please let us know. I mean, every day I'm hearing about new files. I mean, I'm sure we are missing some.
Hey, did you include Cadence?
We had Cadence.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Yeah.
There was a 480 gigabit per second per millimeter version, and I'm not sure this time around if they want to participate on the XSR, but we're gonna reach out to them.
Hey guys, one thing. So we talk about files all day, but the reality, the data link layer here is just as important because, if you want interoperability, it's just not at the physical level; it's also at the data link level, and I don't think we're covering that here. And as somebody that's looking to potentially license this type of IP, this is a real issue.
Right. And so
I know you say right, but it's a real issue. I can't go license a 5-pin controller from company A for one piece of device and expect it to play with another chiplet that's been built licensed from company B, because the data link layers won't talk to each other. The PHYs may link up, but you can't get data across that link. So just having PHY interoperability is first step, but it doesn't complete this situation. It actually, right now, is causing me concern about being able to source a PHY and data link layer that I know will interoperate with somebody else's chiplet. I can't guarantee that.
This is not about interoperability, right, Nick? This is simply just comparing PHYs, nothing else.
I understand that, but comparing PHYs is going to get us onto the first step, but it's not going to be compelling for somebody to use this because they don't know whether that PHY and controller will interoperate with somebody else's PHY and controller from another chiplet. That is a big issue.
But I think there are two markets for this PHYs. One can be actually owned by, basically both sides get owned by one party. Then interoperability is out of the question for some of the
then it's a closed system. Then I can go go have somebody develop me a PHY on independently. The whole idea here is that we want to be able to create interoperability between chiplets that may not originate from the same company. I mean, that's a true reason for a standard, right? Because if not, I would have used GOCs, solution that's already shipping, or something else that somebody else has, right? The whole idea here is you want to be able to ensure interoperability at the data link layer, right? So that bits in come out on the other side and are interpreted the same way.
Yeah, Nick, I just want to jump in on that. I think you've hit a real button there, and that's why I was also questioning that board. So, for example, if that board actually had, let's say, the Blue Cheetah PHY and the other PHY there, but it could be accessed by, I'll just use an FPGA, so you could put your link layer on the FPGA and check different link layers or something and send traffic. I think there'd be a lot of interest in something like that, rather than just, so just throwing that in there. That there needs to be, we need to address a system level issue that, because the PHY guys are so focused on every little nanosecond, that the big picture from a user perspective isn't being addressed.
I'd encourage both of you guys to show up Thursdays at 9 a.m. Because that's precisely what's being covered right there. And actually, there's a first draft of a spec that's probably going to be out by the end of this month, precisely on these topics. And just as a side note, there's a whole bunch of other issues that have nothing even related to added I that you have touched on here, specifically related to the fact that, when you say that both sides are speaking AXI, AXI is not a monolithic thing, right? That doesn't even mean, a defined thing. So anyway, so there's a whole strategy and everything else, that is being actively worked out. And is actually fairly far along. So this is not an ignored issue, neither by ODSA nor by sort of at least vendors like ourselves. So yeah, I'd encourage folks to come to the Thursday 9 a.m. meeting.
Can somebody send me that link, Elad?
I will do so right now. Yep.
Yeah, because for some reason I don't have it in my. Yeah, once you get into 9 a.m.s, West Coast, everybody gets on calls. It's a tough time. If you could move it back to 8 a.m., I'm just thinking, the only reason I make this call is because all my colleagues on the West Coast are still like having their coffee. No, I'm serious. I
understand.
9 a.m. on is full. People are trying to find 15-minute slots to get on my calendar. It's very difficult. So if you guys could move it back to 8 a.m., it would make it a lot more.
Yeah, so to be frank, I don't think it's under, at Bapi, maybe you come, I think there's a whole big, OCP, ODSA calendar, and I think there is something else in the 8 a.m. slot, but Bapi, you may have more control over that than I do.
Well, if enough of you guys want to move it, for a long time, that meeting has suffered from a lack of participation, which has gone away big time now. Thanks to Elad giving it a swift kick in wherever. We've got fairly active participation. If more of you promise to show up, because it's moved to 8, I think we can move it. But show up at 9 a.m. meeting, and then we can sort of do a poll and move the guy if that's what is in everyone's interest.
Yeah, no, I'll put out the call. If anyone else, I just added you, Nick. Hopefully you'll see it.
Yeah, I got it.
If anyone else would like to, get the ad, feel free to ping me. It's on the OCP calendar, by the way, so you don't need me, but I'm happy to help facilitate, making it easier.
Hey, Kash, can you add? Do you guys already have a FPGA with a bow, a die with an FPGA die with a bow interface on it?
What, you talking to me?
Yeah, no, to Kash.
Oh.
No, that's something that's being put together. I suspect Acronix should be the closest to it. If they don't have it, nobody.
Unfortunately, I can't talk about that on an open call.
I'm just saying. But I think there's a desperate need for that, right? So everybody can check interoperability. So
there's a lot of open, well, bear in mind that this isn't our sort of one and done. We should be able to make a new package fairly quickly once you're past this package. So if DAI become available, the point of making this an open project is to do just that. That somebody should be able to take the design files, design practices, and maybe get a head start on a different package.
Yeah. No, I think that there's clearly a common need. I'll see if I can find time for that Thursday, but it's just really difficult. I'm sure everybody's in the same boat, particularly for a smaller company when we don't have a whole bunch of different people. So focusing on this.
Just so we're all in sync. The Tuesday 9 a.m. is Shahab runs the DAI to DAI meeting. Thursday 9 a.m. is the link layer meeting, and Wednesdays at 10 is the test package meeting.
Yep.
That's where we're building this test board and the package and everything else. If your company wants to contribute IP or they wants to do something there, that Wednesday 10 a.m. meeting is the place to be. All right, everyone. Have a good weekend and everything. See you next Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, thank you. Bye-bye.